Once you choose option 2, you're going to get a prompt when you do the dialing. And follow that prompt. It's going to indicate to you the number of tickets you have to choose and tell you that in this day and age where E-levy has been removed, what a better way to enjoy cash out with *439#. Become part of the great bonanza. Let me say good morning to Helga Boydi, who is with the GMPC Foundation. Great lady, great lady, great lady, and wishing you all the best for the day. And wherever you find yourself, please make sure you share our streams. Already, we have a number of people who have joined us, so we're grateful. As always, we're going to the close of the next hour. That'll be at 9, where we wrap up this segment and have some great conversations thereof. Subsequently, bring you the latest in sports. But also, let me say good morning to all of you who have joined us. We're grateful. Make sure you cash out. Share the stream as well. Money need money. People keep asking why I keep mentioning your name, because I've seen your name. So, and then Lambert Niglo says, Papa Ro, take your time. I'm taking my time. And I wish you all the best for the day. And then Martha Odelia and Samira Ache Ajete, wishing you all the best for the day as well. Make sure you share the stream. Let's have some great insight. What do you make of especially the removal of E-levy, the betting tax, as well as other taxes that the president then assented to yesterday? Because on the other side of the political divide, the criticism is that how do you make up or plug that loophole when it comes to revenue? We know the explanations that have been given also on the floor of Parliament and across other platforms by the Finance Minister, Dr. Kesiola Tuforsen, as to where we're going to find the substitutes for by way of revenue and where those expenditures will be made in relation to what those projections have been. And now, a beautiful lady, intelligent as well, who works with the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, based in Kede, currently transitioning to Accra. Julia Battels Atchinson, wishing all the best for the day. Ni Odate Milt has also joined us from the UK, Mensa Majid, and some great people. Prince Nanaya, New York, please make sure you join us. Our guest for this morning, and I have Nanaya Achempem Jantwa. And because of the role she plays, also looking at the energy subsector and then other derivatives within the sector, she's here. She's also on the PRC board, just inaugurated or sworn into onto the board was it before the close of last week. And so she took that in her strides to enjoy that 4-day period of the holiday. And good morning to you, Nania Jantwa. Looking beautiful and exquisite as well.
How are you?
Well. Will you be going to Jericho today?
I have a funeral at church.
Okay.
Dr. Idi Musa.
Oh.
Yes, he used to be.
Oh, Doc.
Yes, he's gone.
Oh.
Yeah, DCOP Idi Musa. So.
Oh, Idi Musa.
Yeah,
DCOP,
that's why
Idi Musa.
black.
May your soul rest in peace.
Yes.
So you have to pass.
I have to pass.
Where is it? Is it police?
Church? Yeah.
Okay. And then Dr. Peter Tekpe is a regular, and he's also joining us. I said she. Sorry.
And because this is the women's program, what is he doing here?
Hey, you haven't started. I thought that opposition, you're in government. You like throwing.
Nothing has changed.
You like throwing.
No. But
bombs.
This is for women. Why do we need a man here? Then you have to start mixing the men and the women.
I get your point.
It is not fair to have a man with us when there's a women's program. So even if it is one woman, let the woman come.
Okay. So the difficulty we have for many of the times, and I have to say that I empathize with the producers, many women intellectuals and women who have carved their own path by way of the careers, and so could also contribute to public commentary on many other issues, whether it's governance, policy, etc. They always shy away from the big platforms or inquisitions.
Why?
It's because, you know, when you speak like that, you go on social media. Let me go and read the comments.
Yes, insulting.
Yes. So they tend to shy. They tell us privately that I am not misru.
Oh no.
So I'm
encouraging women out there to come out, because that is the only way we can actualize the affirmative action process.
I agree.
If we stay away, then it means that we are giving the space to other people to fill. The spaces that are for us should be filled by us. And I believe that the time has come for us to ignore some of these vituperations and insults and come out to add to the discourse on governance, on democracy, on the economy. We are key.
Because that's the only way we can grow our
that's
country.
The only way that we can also say that we can do things better than the men.
Yeah.
We shouldn't allow, because you see, sometimes because you're a woman, people will want to crowd you out and cloud you in. But I mean, we need to not let that. So I'm encouraging every woman out there, if you are called upon, please come into the space so that we can even be mentors to the younger ones.
I agree. I agree.
You don't need a men on this platform. This should be the last.
Yeah. No wonder you slept at the BNI, so you're a very hard woman.
I slept there, Papa.
Vida, Noshi, and all those who have joined us as well. Philip Lanyo.
In MPP are running away. They should go and sleep there. Stop me.
Richmond Kumson, great guy. Thank you for joining us as well. But let's give all the considerations. So we'll take you through what the issues are. E-levy, remove betting tax. We'll put the tax handles that have been removed on the screens for you as quickly as possible, and then all of us will apprise ourselves what really the ones that have been removed by the president, following that sent to those bills. And it will also mean that we're going to have... Okay, so let's have you commenting there.
On the E-levy?
Yeah, and the removal of the other taxes.
But it's a good thing. Let me say good morning to your viewers and good morning to Ghana. And good morning to yourself, Roland, and good morning to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. I do congratulate him for taking such a bold and historic step for removing the taxes on Momo. Is it called Momo? I always get it wrong. They say it's called Momo, right? And all other electronic transactions, and also, I mean, removing the taxes on betting, which is a game. I am a Christian. I don't bet, but it's a game. And some people would want to engage in it, yes. So why do you tax a game? And these are some of the things that he promised that he would do. The one that I'm really elated about is the emissions tax. We have a pollution tax, then you also have emissions tax. You see, the MPP, they just wanted to finish us. But God willing, today we have a leader who is very empathetic to the plight of Ghanaians. So it is a great thing. It is a good thing. Ghana is on a good trajectory. I do not think that we need to say much about what has happened. Because I always say, remember, I always said that the E-levy was a double taxation. And it was like pickpocketing somebody who has money in their wallet. Because the money you have in your wallet has been taxed already. And then if you want to do a transaction on that, then you are being taxed again. It was even a disincentive to digitalization, because most people stopped using electronic transactions.
That is digital inclusion.
Yes, and started going to cash. So it's great. And I mean, people are asking, I heard some, maybe my brother, the economist, they were saying that, oh, I mean, you need the money, you have to, but with prudence and good fiscal management, you will be able to do what? To, I mean, fill in the gap. You don't have to rob somebody. And me, I'm saying that the MPP should give us a full account of what the proceeds of the money was used for. Because they told us that either we go E-levy or IMF. Then we went to both, IMF and E-levy. So we should know what the money was used for. Even if they put it in the consolidated fund, mixing it up with everything, they knew the proceeds that came out of it. So if the proceeds were 3 million Ghana cedis a month, what did they use 3 million Ghana cedis a month worth, which was equivalent to the E-levy? What did they use it for? And it is key that we know. Because this is our own, you see, the thing about the E-levy is that it is our own money that you are taking away from me. I have done my obligations, paid all my taxes. Then you come back and you say that you are taking money from me. So I believe that they should give us a full account, full details of how the E-levy proceeds were used. But this is a great thing. It's great news that, because we all advocated that, we said we do not want E-levy. We knew the impact that E-levy would have on us, on our finances, on our well-being, on our wherewithal, with the kind of economy, difficult economy that we had at the time, certainly that was going to kill us. Yesterday, for the first time, there's a slight and marginal decrease in food inflation. And it is great. And Ghana is also ranked as the 7th strongest currency in Africa. That is also great by Forbes. Before, we were seen as a junk status. Nobody really even regarded anything we were doing. But today, with His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, things are looking great and things are looking bright. A bold step he has taken, a historic step he has taken, and I believe that we as Ghanaians should all rally around him to make this country great again. Because we've been able to resist the rule of the oppressor. We've been able to come together to get the NPP out of power. And today we have our freedom. And Ghana is a great nation with all the resources that we have. You see, Roland, there are times that you hear people saying that, oh, the fight for Galamsey is being lost. No. You see, have you seen an Odum tree? Its roots are very steep. For you to uproot it, you need a lot of work. Do you get me? Well, why are you looking at it? Now you're wearing your glasses.
No, the Galam...
no, you hear people...
Because the Galamsey issue is very complex.
That's what I'm saying. And His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is doing everything possible to fight it.
How?
Oh, everything that they are doing, stopping people from... Even in Ashanti region, they've done so well that they've been able to even stop people from mining in forest areas and river bodies. It is gradual. It will happen. At least an effort is being made.
So the strategy for Galamsey is a gradual strategy by way of implementation.
Yes, it's a strategy.
But where's the strategy?
You see, it involves people. It involves the livelihoods of people, which is not right. Do you get me? For you to, it's an illegality. Look at you see, I always said that the excavators should not be bent. It has twofold. It's a source of investigation, and it can also be a source of livelihood for the nation.
Okay.
You see, His Excellency Mahama said, don't bend the excavators, because when you get the motherboard, you would know the chassis number. You find it. And when you get the chassis number, it tells you who owns it. So that's the source of investigation. You can also use it to do other things that will help the nation. So His Excellency Mahama is doing right. And as for the levies, I stopped doing Momo. Because after you have done it, the taxes that they will take from the money, it is so much that it wasn't worth it. It's better you walk to the person and give the money to the person. So I think that it is great. Pollution tax, emissions tax, you have pollution, then you have emissions. I think that it is wonderful. And I believe that we should all support him to make this country grow and work.
Dr. Susan Edwamankwa has joined us. Good morning.
Good morning.
And, great to have you once again.
Thank you.
And she's pharmacovigilance. She's also a virologist, a pharmacist.
Hey.
More personal. You're still with Noguchi, right?
Yes,
still
but I'm not a virologist.
And more importantly, lives at Sakumono, the greatest city.
That's right.
The greatest city. So great, but great having you again.
Yes, thank you.
I think we have to get to the basis of why there was an uproar regarding E-levy, particularly. And subsequently, then we had it with the segment of the population that would live off the betting syndication, and so we're against the betting tax. What do you think, per your experience, went wrong with government and the way they implemented the E-levy as well as the betting tax?
I think that, anyway, good morning. Good morning, everyone. I think that when they tested the waters for the E-levy and they realized the opposition, they should not have started with 1% that they existing, probably with 0.5. A gradual increase. Sometimes when it
I think they started with 1.5.
They started with 1.5,
yeah,
and then the upper, and then I think they went to 1 or something like that.
Went to 1
They went to 1, but that is not how it should have been, because even just the idea of it was enough to put people off, and people, you know, talked about it, especially small businesses, you know. So the small businessman, you send him the Momo, and he's sending it to somebody, and then he's being taxed, and then he pays VAT, and you know, on his business. People just felt overtaxed, and they had come to embrace the Momo, or the you know, the electronic transfer, because it was safer than carrying cash. It was handier, you know, so watts of cash. You had the money on your phone, because you always had your phone with you. You could always do that. Even if you didn't have it to pay immediately, you could always pay later, you know, and stuff like that. So it was very convenient for people and small businesses, you know. I mean, I work at the university where students come and they even pay as little as 5 cedis using Momo, you know, 2 cedis using Momo. Then all of a sudden, you are taxed and everything. You know, and it just was not welcome. Now, if you are starting something that is not a good idea to many people, you don't start off at 1.5. You get it. You start off at maybe 0.5, and then when people are okay, it's not that much, maybe then increase it to 1, and then maybe because, you know, you would have tested the waters. That's why you have a pilot of things, or that's why you put things out there. This is they were not prepared to listen.
So do I get it that in effect you're saying that there was poor stakeholder engagement? Because the engagement perhaps should have been with mobile money operators, users, the generality of the general public.
I think they did that because there was a lot of uproar when the idea was introduced, and a lot of people were against it. They just would not listen, and they were going to go through. And I think that that's not how leadership should be, you know. As leadership, if you test the waters and you realize that there's opposition, there should be a way of going about it, even if you think that it is a good idea and it will benefit the people. You then must change strategy. But for them, no. I mean, they even had, rubbed it in our faces by having that huge cake and showing off.
You mean the green summer cake?
No, was it green summer cake? Yes, there was a big E-levy cake that they were showing off.
The one Dr. Baumia Oseche Mensa Bonsu.
Yes, all those people went to cut. It was like, you people, we don't care. We've implemented it, and we even have a cake to prove it. You can go hang. You know, that was the impression that was given, that they didn't care enough, that they had put this nuisance tax. People were against it, and they had pushed it through, and then they had a cake to prove it that, well, go hang. You get it. It was highly insensitive. And these were some of the things that made us disillusioned with them, you know. I think Nanaya has talked about how they said if we went for the E-levy, we wouldn't go for the IMF. She's done all that. And
would have even used it to finance roads. Or supposed to have been,
but of course.
And then
they had the shock that the money that they were expecting from the E-levy, they didn't get it, you know. And I think they thought that we would just get with the program, and they had the shock that we didn't just get with the program. I stopped E-levy altogether. I would rather...
You did?
Oh, I did. It just annoyed me to that level. And I'm not the only one who did that. There were many people who just would not do it. And they would rather, probably do a cash in, which didn't cost them anything, or they would take the trouble to go and give the person physical cash, or whatever. And this should be a lesson to the present government, that sometimes
on how not to implement a policy,
and how not to implement a policy, especially if there's so much opposition to it. Then if you actually genuinely believe that it is for the common good, then you must change strategy to implement it in a way that is acceptable to the people. Yes, governments have to take tough decisions at times because they see the bigger picture and the broader picture. But there is a way to go about taking tough decisions that make the people accept it, and they may just resign themselves to it. This one, we didn't resign ourselves to it. We hated it. And then the NDC understood that and used it as a campaign. When it comes to the betting tax, I'm a little about the betting tax.
Why?
Are
you speaking to the morality of it, or?
I would think so. And I think that gambling is addictive. It's an addictive habit. It is like smoking, or it's an addiction like any other addiction, okay? And though we are saying that the young people who are indulging in it, they don't have employment, and that is what they're using for employment. Sometimes they will find employment and they will continue in the gambling habit, okay? And it just may not augur well for us down the line. You get it. We already have the lotteries and other things that we are doing, but I think the betting tax took just a certain runaway, how would I put it, explosion, and all of a sudden you find all the young people being so engaged in it. I would hope that now that the government has taken away the betting tax, and we don't want the young people to become addictive to gambling, because it is gambling, that we should find other ways and means of making sure that there'll be countermeasures. For every action that you do, of course, you do a risk assessment. What are the risks to me taking away the betting tax? And you would have looked at these risks. And for each risk...
On our stream, we have this one from Last Page Versatile, who says, stray bullet to investors. Now, from what I've been educated on, I'll also educate you. The investors are those young people who do the betting. Football game or any sports game, they look at the odds, etc. So the higher the odds of you not winning, it also means that the greater the rewards. And it's, why don't you leave the decision on the morality to the young people who take part of it? As part of the stakeholder
I'm not even looking. I didn't say anything about morality.
You're speaking like a parent.
I'm speaking like a parent.
Or your generation.
Well, maybe my generation. But I'm not speaking on the morality on it. I'm talking about the addictiveness to gambling. That is what I'm talking about. You understand? So it's, for me, it is not the morality. I'm not here to do the moral aspect. I'm talking about the addictiveness of gambling, and that for some of the young people, yes, you may look at it as you are an investor and you're playing the odds and etc. But I'm saying that it can become an addictive habit in such that it has led some people to ruin. Okay, and it's not
what quantum of people.
Because I would wish I would have those numbers. But
young people who form a chunk of, I think, the greater percent, over 70% of our population, say they don't want it. It's not because of any research that's been undertaken that the larger part of that population have been addicted to gambling. As a result of that, they are opposing a tax policy.
No. Well, I mean, if you are addicted to something, would you be happy if it was pulled away? You would have withdrawal symptoms, obviously.
You talk about,
but I don't believe we've done the research to find out that those who have gone on for it to become an addiction. We're still in quite the early. Periods of it. Let's say the betting, I think it's just exploded in the last 5-6 years. It wasn't something that was prevalent before. Yes, people did the lotteries and the lotto and etc. I mean, I'm yet to see somebody who has won big in the lottery and has been able to keep the money and taken the money onwards to become a big-time investor or a big-time entrepreneur. I mean, tell me that the big entrepreneurs that you've seen, the risk that they took, okay, was from lottery. No, I mean, really, we hear of people, maybe not here, but we hear of people in other jurisdictions winning millions of dollars or millions of pounds and ending up still being poor because they didn't they didn't know how to invest the money, how to deal with the money, and they have. So I'm yet to see any rich person to say that I got my money through lottery, and then yes, we take risk in life, we gamble in life, but we're talking about a certain level of gambling that can be addictive. We all take risk. I mean, you coming to work here, you're on the Sakumono Road, it's a risk. You understand, coming here to work. You can say, I'm afraid I'll get an accident, so I won't come. But we all take risk in various ways. A businessman, somebody brings him a proposal, he looks at it, he takes a risk to put his money in. We do that. We all, in some various ways, we gamble. There's a new job coming up. I leave my old job to go to the new job thinking it is better. It's a gamble, okay? But that is not the kind of addiction we are talking about that happens with when you do the betting thing. And so for me, right now, the tax has been removed. That's fine. It was a promise, and I believe that this government wants to keep to its promises. And so they are doing their possible best to do that. But we have, like I said, you have to look at what countermeasures you're going to do to ensure that the negative fallouts from removing this task are not exhibited, or you can mitigate them. And it may not just be the betting and the addiction, but it could be other things. You understand? We need the revenue. There are so many things that we need to have done in this country, okay? And so for me, that is it. But I think the important thing in the removal of this that I wanted to talk about was the NHIL, the uncapping of it. That is hooray! We are happy.
Yeah, uncapping is good for you.
It's good.
Why?
Because, you know, we were paying this NHIL, and NHIL was in dire straits because the money was going to the consolidated fund and into a black hole. And then you had NHIL owing pharmacies, owing all sorts of providers, hospitals, etc. And hospitals could not give the what you call it, the needed services continuously, just because they hadn't been paid. I mean, you remember a time where the CHAG, the Christian Health, they were in dire straits because their main mission or vision in terms of healthcare is part of their Christianity.
Not
okay,
for profit making,
not for profit making. It's part of their call to Christ. When I was sick, you visited me, you healed me, etc. And here were they, you know, in trouble. Because they were not paid and they didn't know how to give that service and fulfill both their Christian pledge and remain in business. So now that it's been uncapped, all the monies that are going to go to the NHIL, they had better go there. We hope that this government will ensure that they go there and the NHIL can run as
that
it
the
should.
allocations go based on the receipts.
Definitely.
But just a minute, I just wanted to say something about the betting. You see, I just want to, my auntie, I mean, she's...
Doc will be with you.
Doc,
today is a women's day.
This is a women's day.
So you are playing, you are coming from the bench, okay?
So I just wanted to say, I mean, what she's saying is great and it's true, but when there was a tax on the betting, they didn't stop betting.
Sure.
Do you get me? The volumes, the number of people who were betting, it did not reduce. So whether a tax or not, people are betting. And I also want to say that...
Then you should not have removed it. Now, so we have more money.
I think she's speaking in relation to the morality and the addiction.
Yes, it is not a hindrance. The taxes, you will lose money, but it wasn't a hindrance. People were still betting. And we should also not just say that's only the young people. There are older people who also do bets. Do you get me? So this betting that is going on, it has come to stay with us. Maybe we should start doing some research, as she said, to see the impact on the lifestyle of people. That what is this betting doing to the lives of homes? For instance, in my church, there was this young boy one Sunday. The mother's husband came, and the boy had gone to take money from his stepfather's room to go and bet. So we need to also look at holistically as a nation, because we've always had lotteries with us. Me, I remember my first car when
You bought it from Lotto?
no, I didn't buy it. I used the number, my car number, GIPC, my first car, to go and stake, and I won.
Eh?
Yes, the
So
number.
your experience then was with your car number?
Yeah, my car. I just did it.
And since then you became addicted?
No, I didn't do it again. There was a lady at the reception who said that, oh, we should do this. They came round and somebody, so I just used my car number, and I won. But I didn't continue. Do you get me? So we've had the lottery with us, and I'm talking about years ago. We have the lottery with us. We have all manner of these things. So what the tax that has been removed, it is good, but maybe you have to look at, you have to do a research on what's the impact, because with the tax or no tax, people were betting.
Right.
You go to these places and they are there betting. Do you get me? Yes.
Dr. Tekwe, now we have to situate the conversation.
5 minutes.
Okay, 5 minutes. Right. Now, the Bank of Ghana, just in January this year, did circulate and inform the public that we have the volume of transactions just for only mobile money, not even the other electronic transactions, just for mobile money, over 3 trillion Ghana cedis. The betting volumes have not increased. Look, I just have a message. I've not reduced. I just have a message from one of our regular viewers, Nelson Akotia. He says that 8Q1WUC, that is my 10 Ghana cedi odd for today. Give it to Madam to try. Do you understand? That's the betting odd. It's 8Q1WUC. His odd for today. So it means that people well placed are generating revenue from this. So the question is, we have volumes being transacted either for betting or for mobile money and other electronic transactions. What do we do with this lying idle? And how do we engage stakeholders to make sure that we convince them that you need to pay some revenue on some earnings?
Well, thank you very much, and good morning to my cherished mothers here and to our viewers.
They are not your mothers. You also look up. So let me just situate that.
Women are mothers.
Exactly.
Every woman is a mother.
Exactly.
Because we
That's the
give birth
perspective.
and we populate this nation. We are the people who exact God's first commandment. Be fruitful and multiply
That is
and
it.
replenish the earth.
Exactly.
So he's talking to
Oh,
us.
You know, so very good. In fact, indeed, government need revenue to run, the economy. But one major challenge we have with policy implementation and policy makers is that anytime they are turning up policies, they look at the end result and they don't look at the process. And so, so the challenge with the Momo, where people rose against it, is that government was so ambitious of the revenue that it's going to get from it. And so they were only looking at the number of the volumes that goes through this Momo transaction. And then they say, wow, when we introduce this percentage of tax, this is the amount of money we are going to make.
Speculation.
Exactly. Unfortunately, they didn't take their time to understand the process. What drives the transactions? Such that, what do people do? How many people, what are the various aspects of it? You know, we have the cash out, we have the sending of the money, we have the deposit. So they should have done this analysis to know how many people do deposit, how many people do cash out, and how many people send money, and what are the volumes of money. Then you know that, oh, okay, so this was because so when they introduced it, they said deposit is not part of it. Cash out. Then people start looking at the loopholes. So unfortunately, the policy makers do not understand how the mobile transaction is run. They don't understand the process involved. That is a major issue we have in this country, where we have very good policies. Unfortunately, we are focusing too much on the end result. We don't put the structures in place. So we outgrow the structures. So we come back and address it. And that's the reason why you realize that when there was the APRA, then the finance minister has to go around trying to explain to people, talk to the stakeholders, explain to them why this...
After implementation.
Which was too late. And so this is one of the reasons why the over 6 to 7 billion cedis they want to make, they couldn't make even half of it at all. And so this is the challenge that it faced. Now, we are also looking at, financial inclusion. There is something we call new banking. You know, that's where the world is heading towards. The brick and mortar banks that we have, with time, you see it fading away.
They are diminishing, actually.
Exactly.
I don't remember the last time I entered my physical bank.
Yes.
Look
And so, whilst we should be preparing the economy to actually embrace this digital economy, we are rather putting what I will call impediment in place. And if you look at the population of Ghana, the banking population, we're still not up to the level we should be. And so we should rather think of how to bring in people into that bracket, where more people will be involved in this digital world that we are talking about. Because this Momo transaction, Momo money transaction, for instance, is one transaction that involves everybody. In fact, everybody understands it. In fact, those who even understand it better are those at the lower are those at the lower level, because they have, in fact, they started it. That's what I'll say. So they understand it more than those who say they are the policy implemented, the policy makers, those who are making the policy at the top. They don't even understand it. Those at the bottom, they understand it. And so if you are coming out with a policy and you don't take your time to study the process, this is the challenge that you have. Well, for me, government is not going to lose much. Of course, definitely, the revenue that comes out of there will go. But look, there are so many alternatives. Like they were saying, look, I'll call it a nuisance tax. You know why? Because you are moving money from your wallet. First, they said they will not even charge. You're moving money from your wallet to your Momo, they charge you. Yeah. Then, as soon as you want to send it to somebody, they charge you. Yeah. So if I'm sending money to 3 people, I pay, the next person pay, another person pay. And you know,
it's pickpocketing.
So just like we all experience, one person could be in multiple times taxed.
Yes.
On multiple transactions.
Exactly.
Same person.
Same person.
Same income.
Same income.
Same revenue.
Yes. You just just after receiving your salary, you want to go to the shopping mall to buy some items. After you have been taxed already on your income, you go and then everything that you buy, you are paying tax on it again. And you see, so the target was overly ambitious, and I think that it has brought a lot of relief with His Excellency President Mahama taking this tax out. The only one I don't agree with is the betting tax. The betting tax. You see, if you look at Ghana's population, it's a very youthful population. And unemployment level is very high. And so when you introduce, and this is a situation where people are always looking for what we call quick money. And this is one of the mediums for which they use. If you are not working, and you want to involve yourself, you want to indulge in betting, where would you get the money from? That is the aspect. That is the problem. And so you see a lot of people, they have to find every means to get money to go and bet. Because even if you are working and they are even paying you, how much are they paying you at that level? And so
what's your point? Are you are an economist. Are you attaching morality to a taxation issue?
If you are building an economy, you can't take moral and ethical values out of the system. And that is one of the problems that we are facing as an economy. If you look at what is happening, especially with regard to leakages in the system, if we have built this economy on a very strong moral and ethical foundation, majority of our issues in terms of the economy will be resolved. And so, because we cannot quantify the moral and the ethical values in monetary terms, we underestimate it. But if we are able to solve that problem from the foundation level, from the infancy level, I can tell you that Ghana will be a better place that we all want to be.
Andy says, look, tell the doctor that money itself is addictive. So whatever gives money is also addictive. But at the end of the day, you need money.
Of course.
That work, then we work.
Of
It's
course.
work addicted.
That is work, right? You have to work for it. You have to work for it.
Okay. Okay. You're saying that betting, if you do that, you're not working. Because people use online means and it looks very sedentary, but that's a way of raising revenue. I'm only saying, just speaking the voice of the investors. Because I'm getting messages.
If everybody should be involved in betting, do you know what will happen to the productive economy? Because what is the productivity level of betting?
They are involved in electronic transactions.
So that is how you call it, that is electronic transaction. Who is benefiting from it? If as a Ghanaian economy, who is benefiting from it? Already government is making money from from the betting companies, right? And if you want to solve a critical problem, my point is that we want to solve a problem. We don't want to add problems to the problems already.
Okay.
And so you look at your population, very youthful population. Unemployment levels are very high. You have to engage the attention and the thinking mindset of the youth so that they will involve themselves in a very productive ventures that will enable them make the money. So that if you make the money and then you decide to use it on a betting, fine, you made the money. But not when you are not making the money and then you are looking for wrong means of to make the money to go and bet.
Roland, I just want us to do some research to find out those who are betting. I mean, that is the field of Auntie Susan. To find out whether these people are totally unemployed, or even there are some people who are employed and also being engaged.
They're
in
well,
betting. Yes, I mean,
gainfully employed
yes, people who are
they use the earnings as what they call now in economic terms
that's
passive
why
income.
but company, I mean, people have been betting on horses in other countries and whatever. But nobody's saying that all of them are unemployed. But is that the way they want? People have gambled their lives away.
How many people?
But that one, you see.
Well, I mean,
because you see,
please, we'll take it 10 by 10.
Mr. Sekwe, me, I am saying, doctor, I am saying that, you see, there are people, these economies that you are talking about, people bet on horses, people gamble, the economies are doing very well. So betting and this kind of lifestyle is not a factor.
It's just a fun time.
It's just a fun. I'm not an economist, but I'm saying that it's not a factor of the economy. Because if people are doing it and they are working, and that is what they want to do, do you understand me? And if some people can even regulate it, we all do things that we like, which might not be what it should be. But the point is that we should not just say betting is for people who are not working, betting is for maybe no jewels. There are people who are very responsible and they are betting lottery. It has been around for a very long time. When it started before, when we were young, most people were doing it. Now you realize that it is not as popular as it used to be. This one, the way it is going on, because it is really, I'm not into it, but I believe it's related to football. It's related to a game.
Games generally.
Games generally. So that is why it's become the way it is, prolific, because it's involved to a passion. It is linked to a certain passion of football. But for me, it is people do so many things which are addictive. I am addicted to jewelry. Do you get me? I am addicted to phones, machines.
Appliances.
Appliances. That is me. Somebody is something. Mine is not dangerous because it is not as bad as.
So everybody and their fetish.
Yes, everybody.
No, but
So we should not let it seem that the people are doing it. They are that bad. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't for my faith.
Okay.
Do you understand? But we have to put the argument very well and say, let's do a research before we can start condemning anybody and also saying that, oh, these are young people, oh, these are the unemployed, these are the fabric of our society. I think that some research has to go into it to know ABCD1. Why, who, what, where, how. Let's use the W's of
Let me
journalism
give you 2 minutes
to do this investigation.
to address this question.
Okay.
The Bank of Ghana, with 3 trillion being the volume of transactions for Momo, also knows that
Momo, our Momo.
Yes, Momo. by the beginning of this year. That's what they said, based on NDA 2024. It also means that it looks like the bank is now on the tablets and phones and appliances. The transaction volumes are now taking place there. What do we do? Is it that we need to substitute the traditional banking taxes with some taxes on electronic transactions on Momo, etc.? Because the volumes are big.
No, but
I don't think that even no one can convince me that Dr. Akisi-Latofosen doesn't look at 3 trillion and says, at what point in time within the value chain of the transaction do I tax?
No, there's some money that is taken when you do Momo, I guess.
Yes.
Yes. Do you understand? There's some money.
Yes.
I mean, I've stopped doing Momo, but there's some money that is taken when you do the Momo, and I believe that the government itself will look at it carefully and see how do we do it so that it does not affect the consumer.
Okay.
You see, that is the most important thing, because we all have agreed that this E-levy was some form of triple-double taxation, that at every point of transaction you pay. Maybe looking at the 1 trillion, maybe 3 trillion, maybe at one point of your transaction, maybe at the middle of a transaction, there will be some design if there is the need. Because I remember when Ken Oforiatta was talking, Honorable, he said that during the COVID period, there was about, I think, some amount of money that was used to do internet trading that people used to buy, and it was huge. And that was the basis for him to have brought in the electronic transaction. And we should also know that because Momo is done by we, the ordinary people, that is what I mean caught on. But people who were buying from the internet, they were also paying taxes.
Yes, you can.
Do you get me? So, at the end of the day, with 3 trillion Ghana cedis, if it is necessary to tax, I believe that we will come to that conversation. But as it stands now, for us, there is the need for this obnoxious and nuisance tax to go. Then going back, I always believe in research. I believe in doing interrogation and investigation on matters to know what will be good for the Ghanaians, because at the end of the day, no Ghanaian should be shortchanged.
Right. So,
you know,
this volume, what do we do with it?
I think that nobody
trillion.
Let me address certain things that she said. Nobody on this
nobody on the morality.
Wait, because she made certain assertions, and I don't know what. Nobody on this table has said that betting is for never do wells. Exactly. Or it is for people who are unemployed only. Exactly. Or it is people who do it are bad. So let's get that impression. No, none of us have said that. Because, like I said, people bet in different things. What we are saying is that you have a chunk of young people who are betting. Nobody has. The fact that I said there's a chunk of young people who are betting doesn't mean that you don't have old people betting who have not become addicted, which is wrong. So the money that he's supposed to pay his child's school fees, he's used it for betting, and the child is sitting at home. We can do that. There is. Maybe not pertaining to this country, but there is research out there talking about addictions and things like that. You can be addicted to your jewelry. If you're addicted to jewelry and I'm wearing mine and you come and you tear it off my neck, your addiction then becomes bad. You understand? If you're addicted, if you are addicted to your jewelry and you work hard and you pay for it and you buy it, it's okay. If your addiction makes it look like, I like this woman's necklace, I want it so badly, I will tear it off her neck so that I can have it.
I like your bangle.
Yes. So then it becomes your addiction borders on that. What we are saying that what Doc says is that you have people who don't work, but they want to bet. How are they going to get that money? Exactly. You yourself, you stood here and told us a story of a young man who stole his stepfather's money to go and bet. You understand? No, the percentage. Sometimes one is a majority. Let's look at it in terms of the society and what kind of... Look, I can talk about Tramor. Have you seen the young people who yes, red. What percentage is that? But if it is your son, will you be happy even if it is one? Do you understand? So let's look at things holistically. Do we want a certain group of young people become addictive in such a way that it leads them to commit crime? You yourself said that the volumes did not go down with the taxes.
Yes,
and so all that we are doing is because we made it an electoral promise, and that is why we are doing. How would we feel when we go down the line and we realize that we need money? You understand? And we have looked at all the traditional aspects. We've tried to broaden the basin, but our hands are tied. And this is getting towards the election. So then we now have to bring in the betting tax. How do you think that will? You see, that's why I say that governments sometimes have to take tough decisions because they see a bigger picture. And it is not all promises that you can always have the same. When your economy is blustering and grooving and whatever, and you say, I want to pull the betting tax because it was my promise. Yes, we get that. We get it. You get it. We have to find ourselves in the certain places. We will be happy if all the promises that you said during your electoral
that at some point in time has to be brought back.
No, maybe we have 4 years to go. We'll see. Maybe it will never come back. Maybe it will come back. But hey, I'm not a soothsayer, so I can't tell. But what I want to say is that we tax alcohol. Why? Why do we tax alcohol? Why do we tax alcohol? Why do we tax cigarettes? I mean, you understand? Why do we tax alcohol? Well, because people are still addicted to alcohol. But why do we tax it? You get it? So we are looking at things in a certain way. I have said we've already done it. We are the spilt milk. What are the countermeasures that we are going to put into place? One, to ensure that our young people can move on to more productive ventures, if that is required. And two, how can we ensure that the gap that we get, he's an economist, I'm not, but the gap that we have in terms of we are filling it properly, and it is not those of us who are easy pickings who will end up, because there's some of us, payee, they'll take. When I go and buy milk, they'll take.
Direct taxes.
Yes, and we are the ones who continuously suffer. You get it. The burden must be shared across board or equitably. You understand? For those who earn more, yes, more must be taken from them.
Just want to add something. Just want to add something briefly. Thank you very much for that clarification. I want on the 3 million cedis thing.
3 trillion.
The 3 trillion. Sorry.
The volume of transactions.
The volume of transactions.
It's not the revenue. The volume.
The volume of transactions. No. So one thing that we have to understand is that
the volume of revenue.
The volume.
The volume of transactions. But of course, the revenue will come out of it. So what I want us to understand is that these volumes we are talking about are for businesses that are operating. Just like somebody taking money to the bank to go and deposit his or her bank account. It's the same that is happening. So these businesses, the more they transact business on this platform, they make profit and then they pay tax on their profit. And so if you want to look at it from that volume perspective, then you say, then this tax that we have removed, this the money is going to bring. No, because the same person who will have walked to the bank to make a deposit is now putting it here. So that's the understanding.
So you're saying that if we continue with that argument, it means that we're only going to tax the overtax, right?
We are only going to tax, but once volumes are increasing, then businesses will now have more transactions, more profit, and then they'll be able to pay tax.
Now, let me just do a breakdown of our population. It's very important for this conversation because we know the bulk of the population are quite. No. We'll do ECG. Dr. Dubik was here. Mr. Dubik.
Please, it was a mess.
So, here's the breakdown of our population in excess of 30 million. Now, we're told 32 point something million. Now, I'll take it from the young people perspective. Between the ages of 15 to 35, that 32 million plus population we have is composed of, within this age bracket, 15 to 35, 38.2%. All right? If you take from 15 to 64, we have 60.4%. So it means that the productive population of our country are made up of young people.
Correct.
Now, what they like, their characteristics as a demographic, should be factored into decision making.
Yeah, sure.
But then again, there has to be the medium to long-term objective as to how it affects their morals or doesn't affect their morals. So the fact that a lot of people like smoking weed or taking weed doesn't mean that you have to liberalize the space. That's the argument of Dr. Susan Edouard here. And then same also for Nana Ya Chimpem Jantua, but says that perhaps we also need to find substitutes, as all of them have argued, that if they are idle, then what jobs do we provide for them? Right. Now, there's a big question about all the related issues and then the energy subsector, electricity privatization, etc. Because we're here to talk about
participation.
Now, Nania Achampim, what is it? Are we selling ECG?
No, we are not selling ECG.
It's a question. Are we selling ECG? Are we privatizing ECG? Are we just inviting the private sector to participate in aspects of distribution of electricity to consumers in certain subsectors?
Yeah, yesterday your people were there. I mean, it was on TV. We are not, when I saw ECG privatization, I was a bit upset that it is private sector participation in the operations of ECG. And you know that we came up with three.
Okay, so the tag is not ECG privatization.
No, if you say privatization, it means that you are giving everything away to a private sector person. We said that participation, so we had a concession. That is the first A, and that's one. It's not the first option, but that was A, and it means that it is like the PDS concession. Then we had the second one, that is the franchise, where you break the ECG into four areas. You can even take one portion, maybe sector A, sector B, sector C. Then you also participate in terms of the investment that you bring in terms of everything that you do as in the operations. And the third one, that is the last mile, that is more of collections and the customer, service and, whatever you do at that end. So it is three parts that we were talking about. That these are the areas that we decided to look at, amongst others. So it is just a participation to bring efficiency. We noticed that there were issues with procurement, there were issues with management, there were so many other issues that has to be dealt with. So when we looked at this, we thought that with some participation of Ghanaians in the ECG, it will bring some efficiency and some sanity. So that is what it is. So we've done the work and we've given it to government to have a look at. Yesterday we presented the work to the minister, and the minister is going to take it to cabinet for them to decide of the three options which will be good for us. So this is where we are, but it is not just selling ECG to a private sector person. You can even participate if you have the wherewithal and you have the money and the capacity to do so, and you have the expertise to do so. Nobody is going to sack anybody. The ECG staff will be the ones to be used. There will be reorientation of what they are supposed to do.
So what sort of participation is it? At which level of the distribution chain?
I gave three. I gave you
three. Concessionaire, you mentioned that's one.
Yes, that's
but it's
one.
Not an option on the table.
Multiple leases.
No, it's the concessionaire, then the franchise, then the last mile. Where
which one is the most preferred?
We don't know. We have to go and give it to government. The government will choose one. The multiple lease is the number 2, the B.
Which one is the most preferred by the minister or the stakeholders?
Nobody said anything.
So let's say we choose concessionaire. Then we bring back not
PDS, but the concept of the PDS, the entity concession approach. That's the concept of it. So where there was only one person, one concessionaire who was involved in the operation. So this is what we've presented to government, and we want government to come up, because you need to give government an option so that they can decide. We're giving them the disadvantages and advantages of each of the three. Then they will decide and maybe come back and see how it will be operational. Like we have a transaction advisor and an implementation committee to implement it. But we want to reiterate that it is not privatization.
All right. So,
but
at what point in time do you expect a feedback?
Oh, by next week.
Okay.
Because if cabinet, today is what? Today is Thursday. So if cabinet is today the minister is taking it to the cabinet. I think by Monday, why are you touching me? By Monday, we should be able to hear something. But you were saying something about...
No, wait. So let me preface my question.
Preface
because we're here because ECG has said the only distributor is not efficient. And so then dovetails the question about the loss in massive revenue, the loopholes, the sinking ship, but also due to poor governance, oversight, and managerial.
It's all part of it. That I mean, the report that we did, we are not going into full details. Maybe we should get a one-on-one to do it.
Yeah.
But it all came up: governance issues, managerial issues. We met 285 individuals, 36 institutions. Somebody said that in ECG, what then happens is that at the governance level, make me rich and you make yourself richer. Okay. This was what somebody said.
So the sector minister then ordered for an audit of the containers, etc.
Yes.
And for you, those at the policy level, you are concerned that
everybody,
why do we have...
even Ghanaians.
Great.
Yesterday, I picked an Uber, Bolt, and the driver told me that, Madam, I am an electrician. I'm a certified an Energy Commission electrician. And the cables that these people have taken, it can do a lot of work for Ghanaians. The ordinary Ghanaian on the street is not happy. It's not only at the policy level. It is woefully unacceptable what has happened. But I was a bit disappointed with the demeanor of the former MD. Yesterday, I was half asleep.
With Alfredo Kansi?
Yes, I mean, his attitude was just wrong. Because fundamentally...
What did he say wrong? He says that...
It is not what he said.
He says the minister ordered for an audit or investigations, and then there was no opportunity for him to respond.
It's not about him. Do you get me? So what he had to do, and we should all accept, that fundamentally he was responsible for those containers. Because if even me, I want to buy this phone, and I'm importing this phone not to buy it in Ghana, I look at what tax am I going to pay on this phone. So you order a car from America, you ask them, they said the car is $2,000. So how much is the duty? You add on. So you know that when the car comes, you are not going to leave it at the port to attract them rich. So when you procure these items, didn't you know that you have to clear it from the port? Even if you're going to pay it in tranches, whatever it is, after the clearing from the port, you should have made money available to clear.
Not to incur demurrage.
Yes, why do you leave it there for it to incur demurrage if there is no cartel that is in the system auctioning these ones and it getting into private hands, then these people then selling it back to ECG? Because I said that in those containers it's not chalewate. You don't sell the items in that container.
And before you auction, you open the good.
Yes, but
I'm
saying that if you buy conductors, you buy cables, specialized cables, you buy even transformers for the LV, the customer side, and they are in these containers, you do not sell them at Makola. So no ordinary person can buy these containers and go and sell it anywhere.
And for what use?
And for what use? It has to come back.
Because these items are customized.
They are for a particular service, and it is for distribution. And you have to sell it to ECG, nobody else. You get, nobody will buy it. So you as MD, even if there were containers that predated you from PDS, it is still your asset. Because then PDS left, their contract was abrogated, and we came back to ECG. So whatever asset was left is for you. So even if there are containers at the port that was for PDS, you should make arrangements to get it from the port. Then if you didn't do it, then the responsibility for that is on your head. Nobody should come and ask you that ABCD, why was it not done? So I believe that, I mean, the excuses are too many. This is government money. This is, and I heard Dubik saying that the money is not public money. Is it his private funds?
No, he didn't say it was his private funds.
No, but I am saying...
He says that it is not the normal money within the, let's say, consolidated fund.
This is what this is talking about. But that's so who does the money belong to?
It belongs to the Ghanaian people, but of course held in trust by the company ECG.
No, I am saying that once the Ghanaian people...
the Ghanaian
people
for ECG.
Are you hearing yourself?
Yes, that's what he's implying.
Please, but ECG,
I'm not holding a brief for him.
ECG is a public entity. The people who are paying the tariff, they are public. The person who gives the tariff, that's the PURC, is a public entity. So you put all of them together. The money that emanates from ECG is public. So if you say, because there are two levels in this world. Either it is public or private. There is no in between. So ECG money is public money. It's public money that is used to do a certain transaction for the benefit of Ghanaians.
And the assets
are public assets.
The liabilities are public liabilities.
Okay. Why are we then concerned about ECG, talking about procurement, talking about the fact that we need to bring in some sanity? If it is a private entity with its resources being private, why should government even say that a committee should look into it? Do you get to me? So the money, so when he said that, I was a bit disappointed, and I said, then maybe that was his outlook. That is why some of the things that happened. Because he didn't see the money as being money that does not belong to them. So they used it anyhow. They procured anyhow. No, I mean, seriously, some of the things that came out is not something that we can say here. But they procured anyhow. They didn't go according to any rules or something like that. Because for a whole MD to say that money is private money, is not public money, it was a bit distant. But don't bring him here again. When you are bringing Dubik here, please train him. Yesterday, he made a complete, total mess of himself.
Please, let's not attack his person.
I'm not attacking his person. I know him, and I know he's very intelligent. At a point, it was as if he was even covering up for somebody. He was even struggling. I know him, how eloquent he is. But yesterday, he was as if making excuses.
I don't know. You mean he was here and there?
He was here and there. And I really, at the end of the day, I couldn't put my finger on what Dubik said.
This is what he said. Let's go get a snippet of that insert. And this is among many others, just over an hour-long interaction with Alfredo Kansi on Ghana Tonight, which is, of course, on our social media streams as well, YouTube, Facebook, etc. An insert.
But for the committee to come out with a report, name someone in it, not give the person the opportunity, I'm not going to address it in the public domain. Containers don't get missing. Containers can get misplaced.
Okay.
Let's all assist the minister and the forensic audit for us to identify the location of these containers.
Okay,
if due diligence was done, the company secretary was spoken to, the document would have been provided for them. There are too many things that it was left ajar. One of them, there was no, value for money audit. If you had spoken to the company secretary, you would have gotten all of that. But there are things that the director legal could have also provided, because there are things that are on file. But the truth of the matter is, I feel the committee could have done better. I feel this final interim report leaves a lot to be desired. I look forward to the day I am called to speak. I look forward to a day a new report is published, and I am committed to assisting the minister to recover his containers. And I have said that, and I'll continue to say it, because these are stuff or these are goods that belong to the state. We all need to work together to make sure that what the minister's motive is achieved. That is what we need to do.
Oh, yesterday when I was watching him, I thought, look, this is a man who feels that, not that he's been maligned, rather he hasn't been given an opportunity to respond or participate during an investigative process, for which we now have a report made public. And he seems to be at the center of being indicted. And so he's responding and wants an opportunity to rebut. What do you say? Dr.
Well,
Susan,
I mean, listening to him, I don't think he helped himself.
No.
Because his answers were not coherent enough or
persuasive
enough. I think there's a reason why sometimes when you have a lawyer and you have a case, the lawyer, even though may believe that you are innocent, will not put you up on the witness stand to be cross-examined, because even in speaking your truth, you may say something that may make you look guilty. You understand? And so there is a place for silence sometimes. You understand? That requires that you sit, you take stock, and you move in a certain direction to clear your name. I don't believe that what happened yesterday, I mean, he has done himself any good. The fact of the matter is, there are containers missing. I mean, we cannot run...
For which we're finding the contents across.
We're finding the content across. And some of them were missing in your time. The fact of the matter is, there was poor corporate governance within your time, where people do not adhere to the protocol and the rules and regulations in terms of procurement. Yeah. Is he trying to say that in his time, there were no containers piling up and that they had managed to clear what he came to meet, and had put in place a system to ensure that containers would not pile up? I mean,
why should containers
you see,
pile up?
sometimes when you have a good system in place, you don't even need to speak. It is the workers themselves will come and speak for you and say that, look, in this time we put in a system such that when he came, the containers that were there, he cleared them, and anytime there was a container that came in, it was cleared within a certain space of time, and the goods came to us, etc., etc. We don't have that story. So anything he comes to say is neither here nor there for us. You understand? I mean, we don't know whether he was complicit in some crime or the other. We don't know. But we do know that under his leadership, we have this poor governance where, thousands of containers were either piling up at the port or went missing, and that he was not able to solve that problem. You get it? It goes to show a certain lack in his management of what we do. But you see, ECG has many problems, and we have seen from those container issues. I don't know how. Nana said it's not privatization, but in making the choice of the three that she said, concession, entity concession, multiple lease, and franchise, whatever.
No, the last mile, the customer.
Yeah, okay.
The franchise is the multiple
lease. Okay, but I mean, whatever the options.
The bottom line is
that
leaking, so
they have to make sure that they put ECG on a good footing, okay, and put in a system in place that it doesn't matter who it is, whether it's private sector or it's public sector, ECG works. Because we really don't want ECG to be privatized. I mean, when people say these things, I always say, because but it's in Ghana and it will belong to Ghanaians. There's a difference between possession and ownership. Have you seen a guy selling handkerchiefs on the streets? And he's selling handkerchiefs on the street, yet he's sweating and using his arm to wipe the sweat. He's holding handkerchiefs and he's selling handkerchiefs, yet he's not using any of those handkerchiefs. That is not ownership. That's possession. He's possessing it, but he doesn't own it. You understand? We should not make that mistake of saying that because we are giving ECG out and it's going to Ghanaians and things like that, we still possess it. We want to own it as a people of Ghana. You understand? So let's not. The privatization there is a no.
Private participation.
But private participation, yes, is welcome. What we must do is to make sure that the private participation not only profits the businessman who is coming in, but also profits us as a people and ECG as a corporation. You understand? Because right now, the chaos that is in ECG, some people benefit from it. And it may or may not be deliberate, but people benefit from that chaos. And there are people who do not want that chaos to be straightened out. And there is going to be so much opposition in terms of straightening out that chaos, because those what cartel people, mafia, whatever, inside ECG that are making sure that these things happen will not take it down lightly. You get it. So the government must be very, very strategic in
ruthless.
making and ruthless and ruthless. Now the political interference for ECG is too much. This is Dubik. Did he rise up to the ranks to get to?
He was a
ECG?
commissioner.
He was a commissioner.
A board member.
Is that going to the ranks?
Yes, he was an appointee.
It's an appointee.
It
is about yes. So it's about time.
What's your point?
So my point is, it's about time for ECG sometimes to look at somebody who can rise to the ranks and come and
Like-
sort of us.
so assistant person.
Like the current MD, Kwekpena, he rose through the ranks and now
okay.
he's there.
So that you don't just bring people from outside into the same, because sometimes they may not understand how the cartel is going, and they themselves too may have their own masters to come and please, so they may not be taking certain
I don't
actions.
understand. Yesterday when you were watching Dubik, you thought he was protecting people.
Yes, he was protecting people.
No,
Yes,
that's not what I'm
question
saying.
is not-
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not talking about yesterday and he protecting people. I'm saying that when they are political appointees and they come from outside, they have certain masters to please, not necessarily within the corporation itself or the company itself or the entity itself. You get it. They have political masters to please, and sometimes when it is like that, certain actions are taken that on the surface of it may not make sense, but because they are pleasing certain people. For you know, I mean, that cartel belongs to people in his appointing authorities party or group or sect or whatever, and so he had to take a blind eye to it. I'm supposing you understand. I'm just giving scenarios out there. You get it. It's a very big possibility. That yes, somebody is benefiting from the chaos out there. He wants to check it. Then his political appointee says that, hey, pull the brakes. So
now,
these are things
transitioning
that
from
happen.
this response and then also from her means that what we always thought was what made ECG financially leak by way of maybe distribution losses, not collecting enough revenue.
That's also bad.
Yeah, of course. Apparently, there's more to it. As a finance economic person, so far, what would be your own observation and response to all that has transpired following from the investigations that now we're getting from the content of the report, the response of lawyer Dubik, etc., to, it looks like, in quotes, the roads. That's at ECG.
Look, the problem with ECG is political interference. Serious political interference.
Not only that.
That is a major thing, because everybody at ECG knows what to do. We have experienced engineers, we have the technical people, but look at it, for instance, the procurement director. How can ECG procure containers to be used sitting at the port, not cleared? And nobody cares. If it's indeed needed.
And we need meters.
If not somebody sitting somewhere ordering that bring in these containers, I don't think ECG as a team, if they are allowed to do their own work, they will procure those containers. Do you know why? When I listened to the minority leader, Honorable Afenyo Makin, saying that the problem is with ECG, they said these containers come, they clear it, and then they sell it back to ECG. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
ECG, yes, ordered for them.
Yes.
From suppliers.
Correct.
So they bring it to the port.
To the
They
port.
can't pay demurrage.
They didn't clear it.
They make it
No, they didn't clear it.
exceed their limits. So
Yes.
it's
Somebody else went and cleared it.
And then they sell it
through
back
the
to
back
ECG.
door and sell it back to ECG.
But he was chairman. What did he do about it?
So that's what I'm
He
talking
asked
about.
questions.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's
That's what I'm saying, that you see, the Ghanaian, if we have our own president and our own cabinet ministers running our own country, then the Ghanaian is capable of managing its own affairs.
How?
How?
Because these are all Ghanaians so, in the value chain.
So if you are bringing in private partnership and they are not coming from outside and they are going to be the same Ghanaians, what makes it different? What difference are they going to make? It's the same human being, the same Ghanaians. What will make the difference is when we don't have political interference. You have a board that is appointed by the government. This board
You mean
members,
politicians, government of the day.
government of the day. these board members, what do they check? What kind of corporate governance lesson do they go through? You know, when Dubik started, he was doing very well. You know, he introduced these measures of collecting revenue.
The Haftel one.
Yes, he started very well. And we're all praising him, say, yes, let law take it, because they were going everywhere. All the engineers, the top management team went around collecting them. All of a sudden, he resigned. Yesterday, when I listened to him, I realized that the man has a lot of things to say, but he's probably can't say certain things. Because you realize that, because...
It was he had a forum. You said talk.
No, if you look at what he's saying, you realize that there was
measured.
Exactly, he was very measured. Because I see him as somebody who is result-oriented person, who can do the work. But his hands were tied. Look at it. How possible, if we have a unit that manages stock inventory?
Then he shall resign early.
That is what I'm saying.
He resigned too late. When did he resign?
No.
Why didn't he resign?
See, in every organization, we have what we have inventory checks.
Yes.
You remember that when the investigation team went to the port, they said that the numbers that they gave them for the containers, after they did a count, it was different. So in ECG's own books, how many containers did they bring? How many containers did they clear? That they don't know. Until another team has to go and count. And until there's a change of government, how many of us knew these containers were at the port? So, assuming there was continuation of the previous government, how will we know this thing happening? It means that all the containers will have been sold to private people, and they will end up selling it back to ECG. So what is the essence? If ECG is managing its own affairs and they want to manage it properly, they will not procure containers. Look at the problem. Look, there are some areas in Accra where transformers are overloaded. What does ECG need? Cables or transformers? What is the priority? So I'm saying that they know what to do, but because of political interference, and if we don't address that, go and bring the best managers into ECG. They can't do anything. Because the people, they know what to do. I mean, you have a board chairman who is a politician. No, right?
Sorry.
The board members, politicians. So what would they check? Put in people who knows what to do, give them the independence to work. And so for me, instead of bringing in private partnership, give them timelines. Let's say 2 years. KPIs. Give them 2 years. ECG, okay, we want to privatize ECG or whatever. We want to bring in
for the
three options.
Yeah,
exactly. Somebody
this one is purposely for ECG.
Yes. No, you can't use it.
So if ECG need cables, would they
require electrician will buy this.
Yes.
It cannot be used elsewhere.
That's what I'm saying.
That is what I'm saying.
Customize.
Yes, customize.
For ECG.
For one.
Do you get me?
So it is somebody's business. So it is somebody's business that where else can we make money? Go and bring in containers. We'll pay you. It doesn't matter whether they need it or they don't need it. Somebody has to make money. So let's go and bring it. Otherwise, if it is not so, how would they be lying down? Nobody knows. This is thousands of containers. It's not easy to bring this number of containers. If you are an individual, the demurrage you pay is not a small amount.
So now,
and it's been paid already. So the supplier has already gotten his money.
Doc, you are saying
these are the auction ones.
Doc is trying to say that the thing was imported in the name of ECG, but it doesn't belong to ECG.
No, you're saying that it was not needed, but people just wanted to gain from the procurement process.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So maybe it doesn't belong to ECG. They don't really need it.
Okay. No, it belongs to ECG. But what I'm saying that they don't really need this number of items.
That's why they neglected it.
Yeah, because other than that, how many years have the containers been there? How many periods have the containers? I think almost getting to month.
Over a year.
Over a year. So if they really need them over a year, why would they be sitting at the port?
The same thing happened with some medicines that was brought in for us.
And then you had to take Okoboy
to go and clear it. Yeah. Do you get me?
After constant pressure.
I think that one was the modus operandi of.
So to end.
Okay.
Yeah. So to end, what I'm saying is that the options that government gave, the concession.
That was the committee, not government.
The concessions that the committee gave, the option that committee gave, or they proposed to government, concession, multiple lease,
the franchise,
and then the franchise.
No, the franchise is the second one, then the last mile.
Okay. All this will still be Ghanaians.
Yes.
Whether it's concession, whether it's franchise or multiple lease, it will still be Ghanaians. There will be no result if it is going to be interfered by, the powers that play. The reason is that before a decision is taken, if the management in charge of ECG do not have the independence to take their own decisions, and they have to always make reference to the political authorities, then because the politician is having a very short tenure, he will make sure that what will benefit him is what will happen. And that is the challenge that we are having at ECG. ECG has no problem if we allow the people there to do their work.
If you
now he has spoken also.
If you
give him the opportunity to respond to
who is that?
Mr. Dubik.
He has spoken. No, but he didn't speak well.
So what's the remedy
Because
now? He said he wants to be part of
his
the
only
response
issue.
process.
He was angry. He was vituperating all over the place. He had gestures of his hand. I mean, he was not coherent. He was not organized. He was just speaking. But you see, you people should have taught him the medium to use to address this. What he needed was a press release and focus on the fact that he was not contacted. Do you get me? For him to come on TV and say all the things, at a point he even showed that he didn't even know where he was. Because he said that when Alfred asked him about the fact that we pay for the losses of ECG, he said no. But loss levels are a certain loss level that is given. Do you get me? It's a benchmark loss level. It's catered for in the tariff. Do you get me? If you go beyond the benchmark loss level, then that is where it becomes your loss. And Dubik's time, it was about 28%, which is high. And some even say it is even higher. Dubik got his hands in so many things that he was not supposed to get into. Do you understand me? At a point, when you read is it KPMG, the report, he put his hands into so many things. And he didn't.
No, he was the MD. What do you expect?
No, but the point is that if somebody was pushing you, now you are here. Yesterday, I saw him fighting for his life. Yes. Maybe he's afraid that he will be put in BNI. But yesterday, he was fighting for his life. Dubik was at least hanging on some straw. Do you understand me? He was hanging on some straw. I do not think that whatever he did helped. If at a point he felt that he was under some political pressure, he could have resigned. Who would stop you from resigning? He resigned too late. And I don't know whether he was pushed out or he pushed himself out.
Okay. You wanted to say something?
No, I just wanted to say, let's not give, I mean, yes, the political interference, but let's not give the impression that the people who work in ECG are innocent.
Yes.
They are not. Because
it's greed.
I mean, a lot of it also comes from them. They know the system.
Because it's not the MD who handles containerized
and all those things. Who is doing the ordering and there's a director in charge. There are people in the chain. There are people who work there who are probably profiting from this chaos
and need to
be brought to account and this thing. So sometimes the politicians live in a glass bowl, so it's easy to see them.
Yes.
But there's a lot of corruption from our civil servants or our public servants. You understand? I mean, so these things, somebody just didn't get up and order them, not knowing what ECG required, because you understand. Somebody must have supported them to do this, to do the ordering, to do whatever, and that is not just the political heads or the political people there. There's a lot of rot in ECG, and it's not only just from political interference. It runs through the whole thing, and
because it's only
in clearing them. In looking at private participation, don't let us have a veneer of covering when the core is rotting. If we don't get at the core, it doesn't matter the surface covering. You understand? That private entity will give up the ghost along the line and say, look, I can't even deal with this anymore.
Okay.
There should be a way of dealing with the rot at the core. You understand? And putting a system into place where it limits people from doing the wrong thing. People will always do the wrong thing, but we should limit it.
That they are going to use the staff of ECG. Do you get me? That's where I agree with that.
But it's a very technical institution.
Yes, because we are going to use the staff of ECG. So, I mean, it's not everything we can say, but I think that we should also look at the people who are working there. It is very, very key.
Anyway, for those of you who are in charge of energy policy at the presidency, you have to be contributing to the decision making on this subject. But thank you, Dr. Peter Tekpe, and good to have you once again. A lot of people are commending you. And Dr. Susan Edwamanko, thank you as well.
They are not insulting him.
Ooh. No.
They are insulting us.
No, they are not insulting him, not today. Thank you very much as well. Board member for the PRC as well. And let me just go through. I see Neo Dig Nia Tukwekwe says, Roland, ECG has not replaced my stolen meter for 2 years now, yet they import meters and the meters will sit at the Tema port.
There are meters in
what are you telling me? Money Nija say Nani. Hamid, you save Charles Thompson, Osajefo Kwesi, as well as Yemole Yemo, and a number of you, Newton King, all of you on our stream. We're grateful that you joined us. Lebanon, I see Lebanon as well. Lebanon here, but wishing you all the best for the day. Let me just go through quickly. We also have Cash Out goes with a Shoko star 439 hash.
Is that betting?
Make sure you're part of this.
Is it betting?
Make sure you're part of this. Please mute their mics. They are out of order. Out of order. Out of order. Nanea Chempimjanto out of order. Dr. Susan Idwamanko out of order. Dr. Peter Tekpe out of order. Moses says, Roland, remember that when payment is digitized, it eases the pressure on the use of the paper currency. That is, frequency of use of the notes become weak. With e-payment, we don't have to print money frequently. Money is safe on the phone. Traders don't have to carry bulk money traveling around. In East Africa, I felt odd using paper currency when I traveled to East Africa. The vendor refused to accept cash because she has to go and look for change. My guide had to collect the money from me and pay everything using her Momo. It became a way of life. It has now become a way of life. We have to move from brick and mortar to electronic. And so if you tax the large volumes and individuals who trade or transact there, what are you telling them? It's a behavior pattern. And then also we have more. Nathaniel also says, okay, it's teasing me. And then we have many other comments as well. And Peter Adato says, please support the women against the removal of the betting tax. If taxes on cars and other imported commodities are meant to deter people from buying cars, then they wouldn't have bought them at all. And so I wanted to know your response as well. But that'll be it for the morning. For those of you who have joined us as well, we're grateful. Let me say good morning to Danis Nia Tukwefio. You work with the University of Professional Studies Accra. Wish you all the best for the day as well. And then also the beautiful Dolores Anelam of the UPSA as well. Sahinaza Mustafa, wish you all the best. And then Remy Awemi. And it also means that we have to hop into the Easter just in the next 2 or 3 weeks, because we have to do that at Marlin Resort. So join all the revelers at Marlin Resort for egg hunt, feast, and adventures. Choose from their exclusive Easter packages for couples. And the common package features are a full board meal plan, which will include breakfast, lunch, dinner, assorted local beverages, and dispenser water. Breakfast accompanied by soothing morning classical songs. Lunch at the Marlin Resort upscale Kinte Grill restaurant. Romantic bonfire dinners at the Marlin Resort Gazebo Garden. Access to swimming pool, state-of-the-art gymnasiums, in-house games. And then there's also going to be free Wi-Fi available. Now, they also have complimentary fruit platter and then also fish feeding packages, and the options are available. First, or one, the Marlin family package, an all-inclusive package, which is a price that is available on request and tailored to your group size. So all of us, for example, we're going to have that as well. The Lovers Gate package, which is going for 3,400 Ghana cedis for this Easter, is also ideal for a short getaway. Double treat package, going 5,700 Ghana cedis, also entitles you to stay one night. You get a second night free. You're going to have dinner on arrival, breakfast on your final day as well as you depart. And then the triple treat package, which Dr. Susan Idua-Monkwa is going to choose, 6,900 Ghana cedis, and it's going to entitle her staying 2 nights. You get the third night free. And then they have great luxury and relaxation. So make sure you treat yourself and your loved one to an unforgettable Easter experience at Marlin Resorts. This is what you need to do. You have to book early now to get discounts. You can call the lines 05920242622. You can also email them reservations@marlin-resort.com. Or you can also check out them on social media and their website marlin-resort.com. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.